Hello. Welcome to Football Alert. YouTube channel updates football news today, and the fun of the football world. You can follow us on Subscribe Now. Cesc Fabregas singles out big game player N'Golo Kante after Chelsea draw with Real Madrid. Cesc Fabregas hailed N'Golo Kante as a big game player after Chelsea's 1-1 draw with Real Madrid in the semi-finals of the Champions League. Kante was at his energetic best as he dominated the center of the park, outshining a Real Madrid midfield containing Luka Modric, Toni Kroos, and Casemiro. Chelsea left the Spanish capital with a crucial away goal ahead of next week's second leg at Stamford Bridge, with Christian Pulisic putting the Blues in front. Karim Benzema's superb volley on the spin ensured the scores were level ahead of the two sides' preparations for the return leg in West London. For Monaco midfielder Fabregas, who left Chelsea in 2019, it was man of the match Kante who caught the eye. He played alongside the French World Cup winner during his time at Stamford Bridge, with the pair winning the Premier League, FA Cup and Europa League together. And once again he was left in awe at the level of Kante's performance on such a big night. N'Golo has always been a big game player, former Arsenal and Barcelona star Fabregas tweeted. Never doubt him. He plays for two. On the match itself, he added, a close game in Madrid means we're set up nicely for next week's second leg at the Bridge. All my family love him when they watch our games now. It's so nice to have him, he gives everybody confidence. He has a work rate which is outstanding. Absolutely outstanding. He gives everybody a good feeling and a lot of encouragement. Jadon Sancho remains a Liverpool target, but there's a likely condition. Liverpool are in the race for Jadon Sancho this summer, but like most clubs, will find it easier to attract the England international if Borussia Dortmund miss out on the Champions League and therefore its financial incentives. Of course, Liverpool ourselves now look very unlikely to qualify, which would potentially change our transfer market strategy as well. Sancho is an enormous talent, but we know Liverpool will only consider the purchase if we can get his price down to around £60 million. If BFAB want more, we'll likely exit the race for his signature. Sancho has only 6 Bundesliga goals this term, a stark downturn from last season, but his potential should not be questioned. With Sadio Mane and Roberto Firmino enduring such poor seasons, it's likely time Liverpool bring in a new, elite attacker, and Sancho would tick a lot of boxes in terms of his age, high ceiling and nationality. He also has a close relationship with the likes of Trent Alexander-Arnold and Joe Gomez from the England squad already. Tuchel in his element as tactical gambit hands advantage to Chelsea. Chelsea's manager showed once again in Madrid how good he is at rising to these strategic challenges. As the rain fell on a wild night in Madrid's northern suburbs, as the shapes and angles whirred past in front of him, Thomas Tuchel could be seen crouched on his touchline, overcoat gleaming wet, arms describing abstract shapes in the air. How Tuchel enjoyed the opening hour of this game. But then this was a Champions League semi-final first leg so tight, so condensed with miniature drama, it seems possible even young people might have enjoyed watching it. Pulisic gives Chelsea the edge with draw at Real Madrid in semi-final first leg. Although perhaps not as much as Tuchel, who showed once again how good he is at managing these one-off occasions, the tactic-offs where small feints and dodges decide the day. Here the flexibility manifested itself in a weirdly open 20-minute spell as Chelsea found a tender point in Madrid's shift of defensive shape and pummeled away while the door was still ajar. Christian Pulisic was majestic during that spell, at the end of which, and with a proper goalscorer in the team, Chelsea might have been in charge of this tie. Timo Werner's speed helped Chelsea spring that trap, a diagonal pass for the run down the side of the back three. But he also spurned an easy chance, made by that same movement. It might end up a moment missed. Madrid won't be as unbalanced again and they are nothing if not a ruthless winning team. For now Chelsea will focus on that spell, and the narrow advantage gained from a first half during which N'Golo Kante was brilliantly assertive in the same spaces where Liverpool had lost their quarter-final. Liverpool's midfield was overwhelmed on this same ground by Madrid's class, their A-list aggression. Here Tuchel came prepared, sending out a double pivot of Conte Jorginho, and a deep shield of 7 defensive players. The game was an act of shared suffocation in the opening exchanges, both teams flooding around the ball. It took 9 minutes for Chelsea to break it open. Real Madrid 1-1 Chelsea, player ratings from the semi-final first leg. Before kickoff, Tuchel had talked blithely to the TV cameras about Madrid's switch to a back three, a man whose brain was already fizzing away on counter-thrust and countermeasure. One of these gambits was to look for that space down the outside, to exploit the fact most of those white-shirted defenders were slower across the ground than Chelsea's attackers. Tuchel loves this stuff. You get the feeling he'd be doing it even if he wasn't a professional manager, just for his own obsessively minded amusement, strapped into some executive gaming chair deep in his bunker, outwitting virtual Pep Guardiola. In Madrid, Mason Mount led the first break, surging away from Luka Modric into a sudden, startling green space, then finding Pulisic with a deflected cross. Werner's finish should have taken Thibaut Courtois into the net. Instead he prodded awkwardly. With 13 minutes gone, the same startling holes appeared. From a standing start, Pulisic produced a simple curving run through the defensive line. Madrid's white shirts stood and watched, mildly concerned by this moving object. And in that moment Toni Rüdiger became Toni Kroos, producing the perfect floated pass. Pulisic skittered around Courtois, steadied himself, then smashed the ball gleefully into the net. It was a lovely moment for a player who carries a certain burden in this team. Pulisic has the American footballing dream at his back. He's also a Tuchel player, a point of first contact for the new manager. Put his chin up, Chelsea's Tuchel urges Werner to forget squandered chance. Here he was electric in the first half, touching the ball 41 times, completing 91% of his passes, and acting as the main attacking lever as Chelsea were surprisingly dominant. Karim Benzema carried Madrid back into the game. First he spanked a shot onto the outside of the post with his left foot. 10 minutes later he volley scissored into the Chelsea net with his right, his 28th goal of the season. Somehow France won a World Cup without this player. With him they would have won a Euros too. It took Zidane 45 minutes to fix the leak. After halftime Madrid came out with the back five much tighter to Chelsea's twirling attackers. The space had been closed. Before long Kroos was zipping the ball about, the white shirts asserting themselves in the challenges. Chelsea lost some vim. The limitation of playing Cesar Azpilicueta at wing-back began to show, a Tuchel gambit that Marcelo will have enjoyed immensely. Both teams will fancy their chances from here. Madrid retain the champion aura. Chelsea will hope slack finishing doesn't betray those 20 minutes of Tuchel supremacy. Chelsea player ratings versus Real Madrid: Pulisic excellent, Kante good, Werner poor. Here is how we rated the Chelsea players in their 1-1 draw against Real Madrid in a very rainy Spain. Edward Mendy could do absolutely nothing with Karim Benzema's terrific hit to level the game at 1-1. In terms of shot stopping, it was actually a rather quiet night for the Senegalese stopper. Cesar Azpilicueta did a decent job on Vinicius Jr. in the first half and hour but was caught out a couple of times by the nippy Brazilian youngster. Struggled to keep up with the pace of the game, and no surprise he was taken off just past the hour mark. Antonio Rüdiger. Superb pass over the top for Pulisic to create the chance for the opening goal. Got in a mess with Chilwell from the cross that led to Benzema's equalizer. Good in the second half, kept Benzema relatively quiet. Wonderfully mad run in the second half. Injury time brought some much needed relief. Andreas Christensen. Good on the ball in the opening half as he broke up a few Madrid attacks with relative comfort. Some big headers after the break. Thiago Silva really didn't have too much to do in the opening 45 minutes but will have been disappointed with the defending for Benzema's goal. Superb interception early in the second half denied Benzema a rock at the back throughout. Ben Chilwell scuffed an effort wide early doors and got forward at will in the relentless rain in Madrid. Bombed up and down well enough and had a pretty comfortable game in all honesty. 7. N'Golo Kante afforded plenty of time and space on the ball by Real, but his passing in the final third was found wanting in the first half as he was a bit sloppy. Excellent after the break however as he repeatedly broke up Madrid attacks, his passing improved drastically as well. Unplayable in the second 45. Jorginho. Relatively quiet opening half as he played a very disciplined role in front of the back five. Good after the break, especially after the midway substitutions as he kept Chelsea ticking over. Mason Mount immediately looked comfortable at this elite level, which we all know he is anyway. Faded after the first half an hour when he was electric for the next 15 minutes. Was a bit quiet after the break, so started well but then didn't really have too much of a say in the game. Plenty of running, however. Christian Pulisic frightened the life out of Madrid in the opening 15 minutes and got the reward by scoring the opening goal with a superbly composed strike. Looked shattered when withdrawn midway through the second half but was very impressive prior to that. Timo Werner spurned a massive chance in the 10th minute, shooting straight at Courtois from 8 yards out. Took the wrong option from a tight angle too when Mount was free. Didn't take any confidence from his goal at West Ham and had a poor game. Agent, Hakimi joined Inter because of Conte. Alejandro Camino reveals Achraf Hakimi joined Inter because of Antonio Conte and provides an update on the future of Lautaro Martinez. Lautaro recruited Camino earlier this month. The Argentinian will see his contract expire in 2023, but he has recently revealed he will soon sign a new deal with the club. Lautaro is focused on Inter, he is only thinking about winning the Scudetto, Camino told Sky Sport Italia. We'll talk with the club to understand what's going on, because the world is living an unusual period. The relationship with the environment is great, Lautaro is having a great season, the agent added. He is on excellent terms with Lukaku, they are friends and they form one of the best attacking partnerships in Europe. Inter have helped Lautaro to take a step forward in his career. Camino brought Hakimi to Inter from Real Madrid last summer in a €40 million deal. As for Hakimi, his future is at Inter. Many clubs wanted to sign him, but he chose the Nerazzurri because of Conte. He is a coach who can take out the best from his footballers. The former Juventus and Chelsea tactician had claimed the Morocco international has issues with taking penalty kicks. It surprised me, but if he said so, he is surely right. He knows Hakimi better than I do.